Hey there, paper geeks and glitter nerds, it's another crazy geek crafter, and this card is inspired by Craft Roulette 324. Now this one I did while, well, not exactly watching the show, but listening at least, and the parameters were an easel card, colors from a craft store, the element was table, and I had to add a bug or insect, or multiple of those. Now, the first thing I thought of was the bug, because I don't have that many bugs, and this one was the first that came to mind. It's from Gummiapan, and it's quite big. Then I was thinking table, something on my table, but then in the show they started talking about it could be a kind of table, and that's been when I pivoted this project a bit. Now the Gummiapan die in the original packaging you see on the screen here, that is a sentiment that says congratulations. So that was what I grabbed off my table to start with, and I'm gonna put it away, but it will return later on. Here I am thinking, because this is an on-the-go project, so to speak. I didn't watch the live like last time and then do the card. And now we've gotten to the point where I have thought of this picnic table. And I'm looking for a gingham that will fit for the tablecloth. Now at this point I haven't really decided on a color theme yet from the craft store, but it will come to me as soon as I figure out what to put on my picnic table. I think the picnic table, the colors of a craft store is very open for interpretation. So the green gingham I got out was a bit too short on one of the pieces, so I got out the purple ones that will fit my card front. And then I got to thinking about these cupcakes from Free Scoops, which means I can take something out of my new box, since they have been residing in there since spring. Pretty happy about that, because I actually really like these cupcakes. It's just I have so many things to craft with and not enough time. So now in my head this is going to be a picnic table with a giant bug on it and some cupcakes, and the colors will be inspired by a paper pack that I saw Crafty, or not a paper pack, some papers Crafty used during her lives on the very first day actually of her birthday lives. But I had seen something similar at my local craft store. Can't remember when it came out, but Maya Designs from Sweden came out with some papers with berries as well as and it has about the same color schemes as those papers that Crafty Al had. So in my local paper store, whenever Maya Design comes out with new papers, they're on display. So that was my inspiration for the colors. So now my picnic table is ready, and I have to get my new dies here sorted. Now that I have an overview of my dies, I am picking out the ones I want. I want the berries, I want the green topper for the strawberry, I want the swirl for the frosting, I need a cupcake liner, and of course the cupcake. To speed up this editing process, because this is a tight deadline for me to get out this video, I have decided not to cut too much into the video. So you will follow me as I sit and think and everything. I will not cut that out. The process of picking up the papers was something I might have cut if the purpose of this video was just to show the process, the actual crafting process. But to me, these videos should show it all, and that also makes it a bit easier for me to edit them. Also, I have not done anything to the speed except set everything to 4 times the normal speed, because you don't want to sit for 2 hours of me doing crafting, I'm pretty sure. Normally in videos I will actually speed up things like die cutting and coloring and things up to, well, times 8 or times 12, depending on how much of it there is. This is a more simple card, so it's not that bad. And I did get this video down to under half an hour, so I am pretty happy about that. A step I took to simplify the process was, instead of picking 2 colors of cardstock for every element, I was gonna ink blend on them instead. I needed something red, but also something more red for the raspberry, and I needed there to be a difference between the, oh, what are those called? The little red cluster berries in the picture is hollyberries, I think, but the way I use them, they're called something else. They're called currants. I just had to ask Google. And the blue ones, the blueberries needs to be a lighter blue on the outside, and then the middle, I don't even know what that's called. Oh, doesn't matter. The middle point needs to be darker, as well as when you cut out the raspberry, if you cut it in dark blue, it will become a blackberry. So that way I could get 2 berries from that same dye. The raspberries maybe should have had a more purple tint to their redness, but I just opted for making them darker and hoping that would be enough. They do have this very special color, but I decided on ink blending because it would be faster than trying to color match with all the different fruits I wanted to do. Berries. They're all berries, I think. In retrospect, the green was, this green, light green, was, in my opinion, the wrong choice. I should have done the same green as I will do later on for the grass. But at this point, I didn't know what I was gonna do under the picnic table yet. So that's why it ended up being this light green. I could have cut another one and glued it on top of the strawberries, but I didn't want to. So that's why 2 different green colors ended up on this card, whereas I could actually have gotten it down to just the one. Now, some of the viewers may know this, but I used to do a whole lot of baking. Actually, that was my hobby before I did card making at the scale I'm doing now. I was an amateur cake decorator, as I used to say. So I actually even know what kind of cupcake I'm making here. It is the recipe is called dream cake in Danish. It's a vanilla cake, and I like to put in forest berries. It's a blend of berries that you can buy frozen in Denmark, very common, and it contains raspberries, blackberries, currants. I don't think actually there is strawberries in it, but you put it in the dough while they're still frozen, and then you get these pockets of sweetness throughout the dough. And I would top that with an Italian butter meringue. That's the white here, the white topper. That's my thought, at least. And then, of course, fresh berries on top for decoration. So if you want to recreate this, that's what I'd make. have often wondered about whenever I do big die cuts if it's a problem that I have to go off screen because I can't get the maker into the die cutter into screen. So I tried tipping the camera, and I don't know if that's better or worse than not seeing what I'm doing, because I can see the kind of feel the tilt, the perspective of it. But please let me know if you have an opinion, so I know what to do in the future. It is the best solution for the space I have on my desk at the moment, and I don't think when we move, we're in the process of buying a new house. Whenever we move, I'm going to get my own craft room, and I don't think I'll set up a camera just to be able to film whenever I'm die cutting something big. That would be, I think, too much to have a dedicated die cut camera. I don't think I'll do that. So let me know if this works. If not, maybe just watching the desktop is the best way to go. For the ink blending, I'm using the inside of my Mini Misty. It has a waffle flower mat in here, sticky mat, and it's the smaller one of the ones I have, and it's just easier to keep on the table than the bigger one. And since these elements are so small, I figured it would be the easiest solution. Now the bottom of the blueberries, the inside piece, is getting a heavy inking, and the outside, why are there 3 of them? 4. Oh, that's the blackberry, that's right. It should actually be even more dark, but I don't think I have it darker. Distressing without taking an actual black. Well, the point. It's a smaller space to pull out and clear on the table to work. So that's why I use it. And it works just fine. When I glued down the frosting of this cake, I did not consider if I wanted to put anything inside the frosting. All the lines are cut through the cardstock in the swirls, so that is actually a possibility if you haven't been too heavy-handed with the glue. I didn't actually think of it before I I made the cupcakes, but I glued on the frosting. So that I have to consider for next time I'm using this die. Also with the blueberries, I think they can be perfectly positioned on top of one another, these two pieces. I didn't look too closely at what at how the shape fit together. It wasn't a perfect circle, so therefore I'm pretty sure if I had taken the time to line it up, it would have been completely invisible. There was a bit of the dark blue peeking out a few places, but I don't mind. And at this point, I was a bit tired and didn't really bother with such small details. The original plan with the cupcakes and the bug was 2 cupcakes on top and the bug, and then 1 cupcake at the bottom to hold up the easel. But the bug was just, it was way too big, and then I figured maybe I needed some more tablecloth to put on the bottom layer, but I didn't have any more of this purple in that direction, which is of course unfortunate, but I was using scraps, so that's just the way it is. I'm bringing back in the congratulations because I have an empty spot on my card and I want something there, and I want to take advantage of the easel function of this card as well. So I'm gonna die cut the die which says congratulations, and the thought is that I want it to be lifted up off the card with a piece of thick acetate, or in this very specific instant I'm using a laminate sheet that has been doubled up and run through the laminator, which makes it very sturdy. I normally use those for making stencils, but I had a scrap of it and it was just easy to use. So I'm gonna cut 2 pieces of the congratulations die, and I do that because I want to make sure that it can stand up on its own, but it is gonna need a backer because it'll be really hard to glue with all the spaces in the die cut piece. Here's when I realized that the green I used for the strawberries will not work for grass, because I have to pivot from my bug, and I don't have many bugs in my collection. I wouldn't even have this one if it wasn't in my calendar from Gummiapan, but I do have some ants. And I have to say, ants are some of the worst insects in my opinion. They're right up there with the spiders for me. And that's because I often get the feeling that something's crawling on me. And I know that 10 out of 11 times it's in my head. It's just something I think is there. So when I look, there won't be anything. But with ants, their feet are so tiny, so very tiny, that I have to keep telling myself it's not there, and then when I look, there's actually a bug under me. It's annoying. And they get in, if they get into the house, they're just everywhere. It's, yeah, an army, and quite the problem to get rid of them once they've found your door. So I really, really, really hate ants in my house or on me. So that's why I have actually never used these ants on anything. I bought this lawn fawn set for the mice and the picnic food and the blanket. Nothing else. So that's how much I wanted the mice and the food and the blanket. I could live with having ants in my collection. And now I actually had a use for them, so that's nice. Hopefully whoever gets this card doesn't dislike ants as much as I do. But if you're a house owner, I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about with the dislike of ants. And I think this is where I noticed that I forgot I had to pop up the grass so it was a stopper for the easel. Oops. So I'm looking for my stash for a sentiment I can use, something relatively small. And this one is the one. The sentiment from this, awesome. I really love this set. I love the giraffe. Has so much character. But the sentiment says, "Did someone say cake?" And I found it fading, and I tried to stamp it out by hand, but it didn't work for me. I need my Misty for these things. So I'm just gonna stamp it out here in Lawn Fun Jet Black ink, just like the ants. And I'm gonna cut it square, because this sentiment is really square in itself, so that was pretty easy to pick a shape for that. The second sentiment will need a background, so I found the same color of gingham as I have on the table, but this one is at a diagonal, but it should work out fine when it's just a border around my sentiment. So yeah, ants under the table. The stopper for the easel was not the only thing I wanted to pop up. Also the cupcakes, I really wanted to have some foam behind, so I got it out and got started on doubling up foam. I'll first get the sentiment on here so I don't forget to pop it up again. That would be embarrassing. So now I want to first glue down one sentiment, glue the other one on top, then cut it out. And then, well, at this point my brain is really tired. So I glue on the acetate without cutting out the backer first, because I want the or it's not real acetate, but let's call it acetate, the plastic. I want it sandwiched between the back white layer and an extra white layer, just to make sure that it's secure in there. But yeah, my brain was not braining at this point. So I am not very good at fussy cutting, so I do better with boxes than with the soft cuts when it comes to this, but I really didn't want to trace out the die and then cut out the backing twice. Now I got my position for the plastic strip, and here, that was a mistake. I should have lined up the bottom edge of the main body of the letters with this piece of paper, instead of trying to cut around the curve I made at the bottom. Yeah, it did make sense. And I didn't like that it was square on top and soft on the bottom, so I rounded up the top corners, but that didn't look right either. So in some time I will try to round the lower corners as well, but doing it by hand, which I'm really bad at. Yeah, it was an ordeal. So that is probably the part of the card that I am least happy about. It's the shadow of the sentiment. It did not turn out the way I wanted it. I did manage to put this piece of foam just over the fold, and I want to make sure that it didn't stick to the other side of the card, so I couldn't open it. So I went in that yellow bag there, that's talcum powder, and here I'm deciding to round the corners. It's just yeah, it's not pretty. It's not pretty, but the talcum just sticks to the sticky of the double-sided tape, so it doesn't stick to anything else. This is the point where I very often stop. I forget to embellish. But for this one, I've been for my sequin box recently, and I saw what I had, so it was fresh in my mind, and I remember I had tiny strawberry clay pieces. So they go here with the ants. 2 in the grass, and 1 on top of an ant. And the ant right there, actually there's a flaw in the paper, so I'm trying to hide that. And this really did help. And then I'm gonna scatter these confettis, which are tiny versions of the Danish flag. It's something we pull out for birthdays, any celebration actually, and scatter all over the place. So it was just fitting for this. Now it is definitely a congratulations on your birthday card. Could still be a congratulations on your diploma card, but it hints more towards birthday with these flags all over it. Yeah. So now I'm gonna have a bit of a cleanup while I'm thinking about if there's anything I forgot. And of course there was something I forgot. I wanted to put glossy accents on the raspberry, the blackberry, and the currants. I could actually also have put it on the strawberries. If you look next time you see a strawberry, it is actually shiny, as opposed to the blueberries, which are dull to look at. But I decided to skip the strawberries for this one, because I thought it'd be too many shiny elements, at least on the card. So now it can dry, and now I think I'm finished. I hope you enjoyed this card, that you'll be back for another one some other day. Until then, I hope you'll be having a good day, evening, or night. På gensyn.